Now at 5:30 on WKYT this morning, police have named a suspect in connection to a weekend shooting that left one man critically injured. More on whom that person is just ahead.
Also on WKYT, the Lexington 4th of July fireworks show is moving to a new location. Where it will be and why it had to move. Coming up this morning.
5 soldiers are dead and 4 others are missing after floodwaters overturned a military vehicle in Texas. We'll have the newest information on the story just ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Kentucky mornings start right here on WKYT, including your Friday, and we're glad you're with us today. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain, and yes, it's Friday. That's the good news. The bad news is there's a little bit of fog out there, right?
A little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Visibility reduced. It is patchy, so you can get into it in a hurry. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Yeah, that's one of those things when it's patchy, you're thinking, well, that's not all that bad. But you can get into it, like Bill said, in a hurry, and once that happens, that visibility is reduced greatly. So it just heads up for that. We don't have any fog advisory except for back toward the west and northwest. But still, watch out for that as you're traveling early this morning. You can kind of see that where the cars are located and have those beams shining off of that. Once that sun rises here in just about 45 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes, that's where you're going to be dealing with some of that fog. You'll see it across the area. 60s this morning. We're staying dry. The chance is south today for those rumbles of thunder. That's the best opportunity. But your weekend, it's a good opportunity for a lot of us. And I'm going to show you when I expect that rain to move on in for your weekend coming up.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Lexington police have named a suspect in connection to a shooting that left a man critically injured.
The shooting happened early Sunday morning in the parking lot of the Saddle Ridge Bar that's on South Broadway. And now police say they have obtained an arrest warrant for 30-year-old Leslie Parson. Let's go to WKYT's Mike Byer with more on this arrest warrant that's out. Mike?
Good morning, Bill. Lexington police are on the search for Parson. They believe he's the person responsible for a shooting that happened last Sunday here in the parking lot outside of Saddle Ridge Bar on South Broadway. Now the police department has received warrants for Parson. The 30-year-old is wanted on charges of assault and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. This after last Sunday, shortly after 2:30 a.m. This is when police found a 21-year-old man lying on the ground suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. The man was taken to UK Hospital in critical condition. We spoke with Jennifer Bryant, who is close friends with the victim. She says the young man, who she tells us is Skylar Ray, was trying to break up a fight when he was shot. She says although Ray received critical injuries, that he is recovering. She tells us her daughter is helping Ray heal by reading to him every day.
My daughter reads him every post every day and shows him her phone every day of what people are saying and what people have contributed. And she said he just gets the biggest smile on his face after seeing all that.
That's very touching. Now, Bryant has set up a fundraising site to help with Ray's medical expenses. We have a link to that site on WKYT.com. Meanwhile, anyone with information on Parson's whereabouts is urged to contact Lexington Police. Live in Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Mike, thank you. A search is underway in Fort Hood, Texas this morning for 4 soldiers who are still missing after their Army vehicle was swept away by floodwaters yesterday. Military officials confirmed the bodies of 5 soldiers were recovered after the accident. It all comes as parts of the flood-ravaged state brace for even more rain. Don Champion has the latest from Fort Hood.
Rescue teams are using helicopters, boats, and dogs to search Owl Creek this morning, looking for the soldiers still unaccounted for. The troopers were taking part in a routine training exercise Thursday morning when their military vehicle overturned in floodwaters. Crews rescued 3 soldiers who were taken to the hospital in stable condition. The bodies of several others were recovered downstream. The incident has left Fort Hood's 1st Cavalry Division in mourning.
Bad luck. Bad timing. I mean, was there other routes they could have taken? I mean, you know, how well did they know Fort Hood?
Parts of Texas have been inundated with rain in the last week, causing rivers all over the state to reach historic levels. About 100 miles north of Fort Hood, this SUV was swept away trying to cross a flooded road yesterday.
Get out! Get out!
2 people inside the car managed to escape.
If you do not have to be out on the road,
do not go driving out on the road.
That right there is my front door.
Hundreds of residents have been displaced as the swollen Brazos River continues to consume homes.
The curtains are all soggy. My old beds are in there. They're all soggy now.
A state of disaster is in effect for dozens of counties as more rain is forecast to hit the state this weekend. Don Champion, CBS News, Fort Hood, Texas.
Authorities have not released the names of the deceased or missing soldiers. Prosecutors in Cincinnati say they will announce Monday whether charges will be brought against the family of the boy who fell into a gorilla exhibit. They say they have been reviewing the results of a Cincinnati police investigation, but legal experts believe charges are unlikely. The boy fell into the exhibit Saturday. Zoo workers had to shoot and kill the gorilla that dragged the boy through some water. The boy's family says he is doing well at home after being treated at a hospital.
A Thunderbird's fighter jet pilot managed to safely eject from his aircraft just moments before it crashed yesterday afternoon in Colorado. It happened just after an aerial performance at the Air Force Academy's graduation. President Obama was there giving a commencement speech. The pilot, Major Alex Turner, glided down using a parachute and was not injured. The president later shook his hand and thanked him for his service. The jet crashed in an open field and no one was on the ground, was injured.
It looks like it impacted the ground, skidded a little bit, but it is, you can expect it is a total aircraft.
Investigators say at this point they're not sure what caused that jet to crash. We know more about why boxing legend and Kentucky native Muhammad Ali is in the hospital. A family spokesman said yesterday that Ali was being treated for respiratory issues and wasn't expected to stay in the hospital long. But later, two people familiar with his condition told the Associated Press that the issues are complicated by his Parkinson's disease, and they said his condition may be more serious. Those people also said Ali is being treated at a hospital in the Phoenix area.
Investigators are taking a look at a car that they think could be connected to the disappearance of a Nelson County mother. Crystal Rogers has not been seen since July of last year. According to newly released court documents, witnesses told investigators that the night she disappeared, they noticed a white Buick parked in a strange place at a farm owned by Brooks Houck's mother. The police consider Houck to be a suspect in the case. Court documents say his grandmother owned a white Buick then, but later sold it. The grandmother was subpoenaed to appear before a Nelson County grand jury last month, but she invoked her Fifth Amendment right.
I know it's her grandson, and I know you're going to try to protect your family, but do the right thing and come forward.
Police say Houck's grandmother is not a suspect. Her attorney said just because she won't testify does not mean that she has anything to hide.
The Mercer County Sheriff says his office is investigating a possible case of animal cruelty. He says some horses recently brought to a farm may have been neglected elsewhere, and now he says everyone is making sure these horses are in good care.
Animals can't take care of themselves. They have to be taken care of, and that's why we have to make sure it gets done.
Sheriff Kelty says the man leasing the farm is cooperating with the investigation. Now, we've chosen not to name that man because he has not been charged. Lexington's 4th of July fireworks show is moving to a new location.
The city's fireworks have been launched from property owned by the R.J. Corman Company downtown for many years, but this year the company said it did not want the site to be used for fireworks. WKYT's Mark Barber has more on the fireworks show's new location. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Bill. And the show is not going far. It's moving 3 miles to the University of Kentucky. The fireworks will now be launched over Commonwealth Stadium from the Arboretum on Alumni Drive. The football stadium will not be open, but you will be able to watch the fireworks show from the parking lots around the stadium. The city scrambled to find a new location for the display after the R.J. Corman Company said they did not want their property downtown to be used for the show this year. City leaders will run a quick test show at the show's new location in 3 days, so they will be closing a few roads soon. Here's a look at what they're shutting down Monday night. Alumni Drive will be closed from 8:45 through 9:30 between University Drive and Tate's Creek. College Way will also be closed, and the Arboretum will be closed starting at 8 Monday night. Of course, you can expect to see even more road closures during the show on the 4th of July as we get closer to the big day, and that information becomes available. As always, we'll get it straight to you. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Our time this morning is 5:40, 20 before 6, and it's time now to get our first check on live drive traffic this morning and see what is going on out there.
Here's a look at the Lexington Fayette. Nope, not yet. Right now, all is looking good out there. Green is good, and if you're about to head out the door, it's a good time to do so, right?
Right. No problems in the area that we can see from that location right now as far as looking at the map of the region.
So here's a look at the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government's live drive cam at Main Street and Limestone, and it looks like not much is going on out there right now as well.
Looks good. Downtown looking quite nice here early in the morning. Remember that fog out there if you're commuting this morning. It is going to be an issue because it's patchy in spots out there this morning with reduced visibility. Hey, it's good to have you with us on WKYT on your Friday. We have a lot more news coming right up.
Every day is some sort of national day, right? But today celebrates a yummy morning treat. Find out what that treat is just ahead.
Thumbs up in my book. I absolutely love today, National Donut Day. Here's the deal with today. We do have that chance of storms. We have a system that's really pummeling Texas and also Louisiana. Do we see that in your forecast for this weekend? I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Starting to get some glimpse of daylight outside, especially far eastern Kentucky as that sun rises over toward the east. You know how it goes. And look, Jackson, 65 degrees. Look at the fog settling in there in the valleys. Now, typically there's a little bit, but that's a good amount. You look down toward London, Corbin, and you work your way across 75. There's some foggy conditions too. And that goes for Frankfort, Lexington. Just because you are not in a fog advisory, and most of us aren't. There's only a couple of spots, Frankfort, and work your way northbound into the 71 corridor that's actually under a fog advisory, which this isn't me poking at somebody. It's just kind of funny how it works out. You got a fog advisory at 10 miles in Frankfort, and then 0 here in Lexington, 0 in Moorhead, 0 in Richmond, 0 in Somerset, so on and so forth. And no fog advisories in those locations. Remember, things change, though, on the fly. So you just got to keep in mind, patchy fog as you roll out and about, and some of that can be very dense. That's out of the airports right there. Okay, so here's the breakdown. Let's talk about the rest of your day and off into your weekend, because the rest of the day actually looks mainly dry. It actually looks pretty good. Not all that bad. This is the day you want to knock out all those plans, all the events going on, Capitol Expo Festival there in Frankfort. You want to do that today. Reason being, tomorrow off into your Sunday, it's going to change a little bit. Watch this, okay? We get into the morning hours there on Saturday, and Saturday doesn't look all that bad during the morning. I will tell you this, the morning there is a small chance of rain. You just can't work around that. But that is the driest part of your Saturday. Watch as we get into the afternoon. Here's noontime and showers and thunderstorms starting to spark up. Here's 4 p.m. and that's really heavy rain right there. You're going to get some thunderstorms out of this, and this is the opportunity at that time. I would say anywhere from 1 p.m. to about 7 or 8 p.m. you could have a couple of strong and possibly an isolated severe storm. So then we head off into Saturday evening, and remember, you still got that Rail Trail Festival there in Royalton. That's over in Magoffin County there on Saturday. You will have some thunderstorms to dodge, and that goes for Moorhead as well with the Trail Fest going on there on Saturday too. There are so many events going on. You just got to know you're going to have to dodge some of these storms there on Saturday. It's on and off. It's bits and pieces, so you will get some breaks. On Sunday, still looks like the storms are going to be around on Sunday too. This front, what has happened is it's slowed down just a bit back toward our north. Remember, it's not over our viewing area right now. It's well north and northwest of us. So it's slowed down a bit there. That means the progression of this through our region will slow down. So that means Saturday and Sunday just do not look all that good. The breakdown of this is most are dry today. Southern half, that's the best shot at rain. Sloppy weekend in store. And then next week, guys, we're there in the 70s. With dry conditions. Actually looks really, really nice next week, but you got to get through some ugly conditions this week.
It's looking more and more rainy on Saturday, isn't it?
Doesn't the weekend know you're supposed to be pretty and it could rain during the week?
I wish it was like that.
Sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Hey, I have a treat for y'all. Guess what today is?
Donuts!
National Donut Day.
You just had donuts to hand out?
Oh, yeah, this is what we do here, right? Here you go.
Okay.
Let's all touch them.
Talking about? I'm in.
Yeah, it's
National Donut Day is underway.
So, you know what? It does have a good story, too. If you're thinking about surprising your coworkers with a sweet treat, just remember, lines at local bakeries may be extra long. National Donut Day was started in 1938 by the ladies of the Salvation Army to help the soldiers enjoy a piece of home while serving during World War I. And one local bakery here in town is trying to set a record this Donut Day. Donut Day's Bakery will be collecting donations for Salvation Army and the Red Cross while trying to set an all-time production record. So they have stores on Southland Drive, in Chevy Chase, and also there's one in Richmond. So remember that. Go get your donuts.
Right. We had a donut group in yesterday who said that, there are two National Donut Days. This one's spelled with the O, and then there's one for the donut spelled O-U-G-H.
Well, who knew? I did not know that.
So there you go. That's why you may feel like you have more donut days than you realized.
Well, it's one of those days where you can actually eat donuts all day.
All right, there you go. There's your
breakfast,
excuse.
lunch, and dinner.
5:48 on WKYT this morning, rolling towards 6 o'clock on your Friday.
Coming up, you'll get the stories making news at this hour.
Also, we'll be looking at traffic this morning, see how things are moving out there. We'll check the web and some health news and more. So good to have you with us here on WKYT. Good morning, welcome in. It is your Friday, June 3rd, and we're glad you're with us here on WKYT bright and early. We're getting ready to go, huh?
It is early, but it's Friday, so that's good news. So let's take a look at some of the stories we're working on at this hour.
Lexington police have named 30-year-old Leslie Parson as a suspect in connection to a shooting that left a man critically injured over the weekend. Police say the victim was shot early Sunday morning in the parking lot of Saddle Ridge Bar on South Broadway.
Boxing legend and Kentucky native Muhammad Ali is in the hospital for respiratory issues. Two people familiar with his condition told the Associated Press that the issues are complicated by his Parkinson's disease. They also said Ali is being treated at a hospital in the Phoenix area.
The Lexington 4th of July fireworks show is moving. The celebration will be at Commonwealth Stadium. The fireworks will be launched near the Arboretum. Monday, by the way, the city will be testing that site for fireworks. They're calling it a little test fire, so heads up on that. Authorities are trying to figure out what caused two military performance jets to crash in separate incidents yesterday. A Navy Blue Angels F-18 crashed near Nashville, killing the pilot. An Air Force Thunderbird F-16 also crashed after a flyby at the Air Force Academy graduation. That pilot ejected safely.
Topping your health headlines this morning, there may be a medical reason why senior citizens are less likely to take risks.
Researchers in London say it has to do with dopamine, which is the chemical in the brain that predicts which actions will lead to rewards. As people age, their levels of dopamine decline, which may discourage them from taking risks.
A separate obesity study found that overweight people are turning to smartphone apps to help them diet. But out of 3,000 of those programs, less than 1% are actually developed by certified health organizations. Researchers say there are no published reports on whether the apps are effective. Let's get a check this hour on today's traffic trouble spots with a look at live drive traffic. And not much going out there on the roads so far, but it's only 5:54. So as the morning picks up, I'm sure traffic will as well. Whatever the case, just be careful out there on the roads this morning. Time to check with what's making news online this morning with Bill.
Well, on WKYT.com, Lexington police have that warrant out this morning for Leslie Parsons, charging him in connection with a shooting outside a bar on South Broadway. We'll keep updating that story as we get more information. We'll also keep an eye on weather going into the weekend, as Mike is talking about that rain moving through. Hopefully there won't be problems like the scattered storm damage we found over in Bourbon County. You can check out the video of that on our website this morning. Those big rigs that go up and down the highway right alongside us out there may have some problems. WKYT investigates the trouble of drivers high on drugs. It's an increasing problem, and our Miranda Combs looks into the problem and some possible solutions as well. Lexington's 4th of July fireworks display, again, moving from downtown out to the Arboretum and Commonwealth Stadium area. Check out that story on the new plan and the heads up about that test fire Monday night. We'll keep you updated on boxing great Muhammad Ali, who's hospitalized as the Kentucky native deals with respiratory problems complicated by his long battle with Parkinson's disease. Kentucky.com has more info about the $18 million upgrade to state parks announced by Governor Matt Bevin. The parks will be spruced up. The governor traveled down to Cumberland Falls to make that announcement. And CBS This Morning is coming up shortly at 7 with your eye opener. Of course, we'll have local updates updates as well. And be sure to join us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And for the latest anytime, you'll find that at WKYT.com.
No fog advisory across the region except for a few up toward the northwest. But listen, there's patchy fog all around the area. Even though you're not in advisory, does not mean you're not seeing fog. So some of these zones right at zero visibility. That's coming out of some of these airports. So just keep in mind. Traveling, that's going to be the issue early this morning. Look at the fog there in Jackson and Breathitt County. Check that out. I-75 in London-Corbin area. Lexington, we're about 50 feet up. This is actually on top of the station, and this is looking down toward downtown. Now, just about 30, 45 minutes ago, I could see downtown from this viewing area, or from this spot, this vantage point, but I can't see it now. So that fog is going here and there. It's very patchy. Heads up for that as you're traveling early this morning. 80 degrees by the afternoon. That chance of rain in the forecast, you got to remember, it's far southern zones. So that Cumberland Parkway, the Howard Rogers Parkway, that's probably your best bet to actually see a rain chance today. Most of us are going to be dry. Most of us, not all of us. So just keep that in mind heading out and about. Knock out the plans today, knock out the yard work today, because the weekend you will not be able to, except for one part toward the weekend. I'm going to show you which dry part you have for the weekend. Coming up with another hour of WKYT News. Here's a live look outside. You can barely see anywhere. Take it easy out on the road early this morning.